Today we're going to look at problem solving involving polynomials. Now, with any problem solving in mathematics, there's essentially 4 steps that you should follow to help you organize and answer what is being asked of you. The first one is to read and often reread the question. Think carefully about what the question is asking. Stop and think about this before jumping down and trying to solve equations that you see in the question. So really stop, think about what is being asked of you and what values or variables, what information you've been given in the question. Then write out the values you were given. Try and create the necessary equations or expressions and try organizing your information in a systematic step-by-step fashion. That will help you get to the point where you have to evaluate or solve that problem. Answer what is being asked of you. And then the very last step, of course, is to make sure that your answer makes sense in terms of the question. So let's take a look at a couple examples of problem solving or applications in polynomials. So in this first example, you have a triangle which has a perimeter of 10x plus 7y centimeters. One side of the triangle measures 2x plus y, and the other side measures 4x minus 2y. Write and simplify an expression for the length of the third side. So here you are being asked, we went back to the beginning. You are being asked the length of the third side of the triangle. Now the information that you are given is the perimeter and 2 of the sides. That's all the information you've been given. So let's draw a diagram first of our triangle. And we don't know what kind of triangle this is, if it's a 90-degree, a right-angle triangle, or anything else. So let's just choose 2 of the sides. We'll pick this side to be 2x plus y, and this side to be 4x minus 2y. Now we're also told that the perimeter is 10x plus 7y, and we know that the perimeter is the sum of all 3 sides. This is the third side that we don't know. But what we do know is that if the perimeter is 10x plus 7y and it is equal to 2x plus y plus 4x minus 2y plus this third side, then we can calculate that third side by taking the perimeter and subtracting these 2 sides. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have 10x plus 7y. That's our perimeter, and we're going to subtract from that. I'm going to put brackets around here. We're going to subtract from that 2x plus y, so that's this entire side, and we're going to subtract this entire side. Now I'm putting brackets around here because we want to be careful that we subtract everything in that term. In these terms here. These are 2 binomial terms, and we want to subtract both terms in there. So let's remove the brackets then and distribute this negative sign. We have to distribute it to both terms, like that. So here we have 10x plus 7y minus 2x, and then we're subtracting y as well, minus 4x. Now here we're subtracting negative 2y, so that gives us plus 2y. Now let's circle like terms. So we have a 10x minus 2x minus 4x. I'll do that in red. So 10x minus 2x is 8x minus another 4x leaves us with 4x. And then we have a plus 7y minus y plus 2y. So plus 7y minus y is 6y, plus 2y leaves us with 8y. So this would be the third side of our triangle. Now in the second part of this question, we're asked to determine the measure of each side when x equals 5 and y equals 1. So let's go ahead and do that here. For our first side, we have 2x plus y, and we're going to substitute 5 in for x and 1 in for y. So this is our first side. And we have 2 times 5 plus 1 gives us 11. And we're dealing with centimeters here. Our second side, again, we're substituting in 5 and 1 for x and y. So we have 4 times 5 minus 2 times 1. 4 times 5 is 20, minus 2 is 18. And lastly, our third side. Our third side is up here. So 4 times 5 plus 8 times 1. So that's 20 plus 8 is 28 centimeters. And that's the value of all three sides when x is 5 and y is 1. Okay, let's look at another example. Here in this example, you have a rectangular garden with dimensions 30 feet by 40 feet. And this rectangular garden has a garden bed in the middle. The garden bed is surrounded by a gravel walkway with uniform width. Uniform width here means that it's the same width all the way around. Create an expression for the area of the garden bed. So that's the garden bed that is in the middle. Let's draw a diagram here of what we have. So we have a rectangular garden, and it has dimensions 30 feet by 40 feet. So let's put that down. 40 feet and 30 feet. Now we're also told that this garden bed is in the middle. So let's draw that out. Here is our garden bed. And the garden bed is surrounded by a walkway of uniform width. So this is our walkway here. And if this has uniform width, that means that this size, this size, this size, and this size are all the same. So I'm going to label these X, like that. Now, the question is asking us to create an expression for the area of the garden bed. So that's this middle part here. We don't have those dimensions, but what we do have is the outer dimensions, and we have that this is X. So that means for our inner dimensions of the garden bed, let me redraw the garden bed here. The length is 40 minus 2 times x, because remember we had an x on either side here, and the outer part was 40. So So 40 minus 2x gives us that inside length. Now let's look at the width. The width of the larger rectangle was 30, and on either side was x, so again 30 minus 2x is the dimension of the width of the garden bed. So with that information, we can now calculate the area. So the area of any rectangle is the length times the width, and in this case we have 40 minus 2x times 30 minus 2x, and we're going to expand by FOILing and then simplify. So 40 times 30 gives us 1200. So that's our first. Our outside, 40 times negative 2x is negative 80x. Our inside, negative 2x times 30 gives us negative 60x. And last, negative 2x times negative 2x gives us positive 4x squared. Okay, let's combine like terms first, and then we'll rewrite this with our 4x squared first. So combining these two like terms, negative 80x minus 60x is 140x. And then we had 1200 and plus 4x squared. Now we should write this polynomial with the highest degree term first. So that's 4x squared minus 140x plus 1200. And that is an expression for the area of the garden bed. Let's look at one more example. And this is a financial literacy example. So we have the sales price of a video game that can be modeled by the equation P is equal to 3x plus 2. So that's the price, the sales price. The number of games sold can be modeled by the equation N equal to 8x. Then the question asks you to write a model for the revenue from the sale of the games. So a model meaning a equation. So we know that revenue is equal to the sales price times the number of items sold. So for any revenue, it can be modeled by the price times the number of units sold. So we're going to use that here, and we're going to use this value for P and this value for N. So we have revenue is equal to 3x plus 2 times 8x. Now we're going to distribute, multiplying that out. That gives us 24x squared plus 16x. And that is an equation for the revenue from the sale of the games.